So, today we are gonna talk about Jeff Bezos, and this is what you are going to regret at 80, which apparently is something that he said. And as I'm just seeing right now, this is an article published in 2018, but it was updated July 20th, 2020. So it is a fairly new article, and yeah, we're gonna see. We're gonna see what it is all about. I do hope that the noise in the background isn't too much of a thing, but yeah, let's see what he's saying. It's not what you do and mess up, it is what you don't do that will plague you when you're old and looking back on your life. So says Amazon and Blue Origin boss Jeff Bezos. Now there's a quote: when you think about the things that you will regret when you're 80, they're almost always the things that you did not do. They are acts of omission. Very rarely are you going to regret something that you did that failed and didn't work or whatever, says Bezos in an interview with Axel Springer CEO Matthias Döpfner, published by Business Insider on Saturday. It's not only true of professional decisions, but also of life too, says the 54-year-old. He's actually 54, I didn't know that. Who is currently worth, well, probably right now he is not 54, but 56. Unless they've updated it, I don't know. Who is currently worth 130.5 billion according to Forbes. And I'm not just talking about business things, says Bezos. It's like I love that person I never told them. And 50 years later, you're like, why didn't I tell her? Why didn't I go after it? So that is a kind of life regret that is very hard to be happy about when you're telling yourself in a private moment that story of your life. Bezos is himself embodiment. What? Bezos is himself embodiment of that willingness to act. He famously left the Wall Street investment banking career to start selling books online with a little website called Amazon. In hindsight, it was a lucrative decision. At the time, however, Bezos and his wife Mackenzie were taking a risk, one that not everyone agreed with. I mean, of course, having a career at Wall Street is probably going to make you pretty good amount of money, but really in hindsight, it's been a good decision. It's been an amazing decision. He's an amazing businessman, and Amazon is doing just such a great job. It is insane actually, because yeah, I mean they truly understand the customer. They truly understand the people that are using Amazon, with Amazon Prime and Amazon Prime video and all of the things that they have started. They have really been able to to create products and services for people, and for people that actually want to have them. And it is insane, it really is. But yeah, let's see another quote. I was working at a financial firm in New York City with a bunch of very smart people, and I had a brilliant boss that I much admired, recalled Bezos in a commencement speech he gave at his alma mater, Princeton, in 2010. I do not actually know which college or university he attended. I went to my boss, well, it might actually be Princeton, but anyway. I went to my boss and I told him I wanted to start a company selling books on the internet. He took me on a long walk in Central Park, listened carefully to me, and finally said, that sounds like a really good idea, but it would be even a better idea for someone who didn't already have a good job. Bezos did think about the decision carefully. That logic made some sense to me, and he convinced me to think about it for 48 hours before making a final decision. Seen in that light, it really was a difficult choice, but ultimately, I decided I had to give it a shot, said Bezos in his speech. I didn't think I'd regret trying and failing, and I suspected I would always be haunted by a decision to not try at all, he explained. So he took the less safe path to follow my passion, and I'm proud of that choice, he said. In addition to that mindset, Bezos says having supportive and loving people in his life has helped inspire him to take risks. Mackenzie, she had married this staple guy working on Wall Street, and a year after we got married, I went to her and said, I want to quit my job, move across the country and start this internet bookstore. And Mackenzie, of course, like everybody I explained this to, the first question was, what's the internet? Because nobody knew. This was 1994, says Bezos in his interview with Döpfner. But even before she could say, "What's the internet?" she said, "Great, let's go." Because she wanted to support it, and she knew that I had always had this passion for invention and starting a company, says Bezos. In addition to his wife, Bezos credits his parents and grandfather as major influence in his life, giving him strength. Now I actually remember that especially his grandfather really did play a big role in his life, teaching him quite a lot of things as far as I remember, which right now in hindsight, going back to my childhood, and actually going back to, because I kind of remember that I've already went through this article, as funny as it is, but I mean, I've went through so many articles. It is insane. It is really an insane amount of time that I've been spending with the podcast up to this point, but it's all been worth it, I would say, to some degree. Of course, it truly depends on how you think about it and how you're viewing it, but I think it's quite been worth it. Anyway, I do think and I do question why. I don't know. It kind of seems to be such a cliche things in America that you learn so much from your father or just let's say parents in general, and also grandparents. But what did I learn? I think that, I mean, of course, you learn by osmosis, by watching people doing something and whatnot. And I've definitely benefited from that, obviously, but yeah, directly learning something, I guess there wasn't quite something. Besides my mother putting such a great work ethic into myself, actually, doing everything in terms of, for example, homework, always doing it on the day that I had to do it, or like, let's put it, I've had a week of doing something, I've had a week of time for doing something, and I've always done it the first day, maybe the first few days and whatnot. Like my mother always pushed me to do that, and I'm actually pretty grateful for that. I do not want to necessarily say that it is the case right now as well, that I'm always doing it just ahead of time, quite, but I do it. I've never had something quite that I've not done. Not in school. Well, I haven't worked that much, but also not at work. There was nothing in school that I've not done, at least as far as I remember, unless I've forgotten about it, then obviously I haven't done it. But anyway, this kind of work ethic, this is something that I've learned, that I've gotten. Anyway, I won the lottery with my mom. Thanks for literally everything, Mom. My mom had me when she was 17 years old, and she was still in high school in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and this is in 1964. I can assure you that being a pregnant teenager in high school was not cool in Albuquerque, New Mexico at that time. And so it was very difficult for her, says Bezos. My grandfather went to bat for her, and then they tried to kick her out of school, and they are incredible. So the gift I had was I that had this incredible family. Feeling supported and loved afforded him the confidence to take bold actions. Bezos says, when you have loving and supportive people in your life, like Mackenzie, my parents, my grandfather, my grandmother, you end up being able to take risks, says Bezos, because I think it's one of those things, you kind of know that somebody's got your back. And so if you're thinking about it logically, it is an emotional thing. And it is a brain thing. Like in the end, once again, the role that our mind plays, our subconscious, our conscious, it is insane. It is just an insane thing. It surprises me, well, not necessarily every day, but really often, that that everything really is about your mind. Your physical well-being is about your mind, of course, because if you really think that you're having a fever, then you're probably gonna get one, or you're probably having one. You know, it is such a fucked up thing. On one hand, on the other hand, you could also just use it to quote unquote stay healthy, probably. But I guess that this is, you know, way more work than the negative part of it or the negative side of it. Anyway, it is insane. It really is. You know, the connection between physical health and mental health. I mean, the thing is, you can be physically healthy, but if you're not mentally healthy, your life is still fucked. And I've been talking about that. Like, it is an insane thing. Me working as a paramedic and being around elderly people quite all the time. Like, when I'm doing my job, most often I'm talking to elderly people. I'm having to do with elderly people. Of course, sometimes there's also people that are not that old, like, I don't know, 50 or something, which is relatively young. But then there's also people like 103, 95, 94, 90, 93, 83, something like that. Like, there's actually quite a lot of relatively old people. And I mean, some of them are in really good shape. Really, really amazingly good shape. But the problem is, once you're in a bad shape mentally, I mean, everything is gone. Everything is fucked. Quite, you know? Because, yeah, you might be in good shape and you might be well off physically, but you can't do anything anymore. You know, you can't talk, maybe. You can't interact with people just in a proper way. And actually, maybe you can't even use your physical body just because your brain is so fucked and your head is so fucked, you know? Which, you know, could also talk about depression here. Could also talk about, like, some other mental illnesses, schizophrenia and whatnot. But if your mental game is fucked, things are really fucked, you know? I mean, let's think about Stephen Hawking. His body was, you know, he was not well off in terms of his body, but mentally, he was in really good shape, you know, and therefore he was able to work. Therefore, he was able to do something, you know? And I think it is the exact same thing for people that are actually healthy mentally and physically. Like, you can make sense out of your life by thinking about it, you know, by putting it into a certain light, by thinking about it in a certain way, and I don't know, by just giving meaning to it. And this is as well a mental thing. You can give meaning to certain things, but we have to work on that. We have to do that mentally. It is a fucked up thing, but with that, I'm willing to end the episode, the second recording of the day. I have been relatively productive today, and it's actually been quite a strange day, to be honest, you know? A day of a lot of... It really was a strange day. Anyway, a good day, you know, but in a well, anyway. Gonna see you the next time, so I wish you the best. I'll see you soon, and then please take care of yourself, and remember that we all can do something or say something that is really gonna make somebody's day, you know? We all can. It's not a secret, but we all can. So yeah, gonna see you the next time. Bye bye.